chance to be remembered alongside the great Shia voices of the past, such as Salman and Abu Dhar and Miqdad, or the voices of the orators and those who gave sermons and recited supplication and prayers on the 10th of Muharram alongside Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And there's an incentive. The incentive is that you'll be remembered alongside the greatest voices in the past. The smaller incentive is that we're looking to give a gift of £10,000 to help kickstart this person's career. And so this particular gift is to help. The incentive ultimately is to be remembered as being amongst the voices of those who sought to protect the path and the teachings of the Prophet and the Holy Household. Come to the auditions and be remembered as a Shia voice.
Imam Hussein Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussein TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon them.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Gather queries of your chest with Ahkam SOS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. But before we begin, we'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate everyone on the auspicious occasion of the birth of our fearless leader and the Khalif after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib. We send and extend our congratulations to, first of all, the Imam of our time, also the whole of the Muslim Ummah, inshallah. And inshallah, tonight and tomorrow there will be major celebrations which you'll be involved in, considering how all the COVID restrictions have been lifted. Inshallah, we can all rejoice and join together and inshallah celebrate to make it a very memorable occasion. Sheikhna, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Congratulations to you on this occasion. Sheikhna, is there anything you'd like to add to to tell the viewers in regards to the occasion and also the personality of Amir al-Mu'minin?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Indeed, one of the miracles and great events that took place is the birth of the Prince of the Believers, Amir al-Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam, inside the holy Kaaba, in which nobody was born before or after. So it is a great blessing that Allah has given for Kaaba to be blessed,
MashaAllah,
for hosting Amir al-Mu'minin salamullah alayhi as a newborn child. And of course, the sacrifice of the Imam alayhi salam during the battles from Badr till Nahrawan, all the way down, in which the Imam was always in the front line and fighting the enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal, and bringing victory always with his presence in the battlefields. Always the victory was on his hand, in which Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned in various narrations of the verses in the Holy Quran and the narrations of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about Imam Ali alayhi salam in the hadith and in the Sunnah. So a great occasion and a great event that needs to be observed, not by only the Shia but all Muslims. And of course, when we look at the books of the non-Shia by Ahl Sunnah, that they have hundreds of hadith praising Imam Ali, Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullah alayh, narrating from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. I'll mention few for tonight, inshallah, with this regard, and inshallah during the questions and answers, I'll mention also the other hadith, because I've got at least 10 hadith with this regard for tonight, inshallah. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله ما اكتسب مكتسب مثل فضل علي عليه السلام. There's nobody has gained such virtues like the virtues that Imam عليه السلام has gained. يهدي صاحبه إلى الهدى. He would guide his follower towards the right path, towards the guidance. ويرده عن الردى, and he would protect him from deviation, from astray. And this hadith is mentioned in the book الرياض النظرة في مناقب العشرة by الطبري, محبين الطبري, the Sunni. He mentions in his book, you know, the virtues of the 10 who are given glad tidings and mubashir bil Jannah, and one of them is Ali alayhi salam. So he's praising Ali alayhi salam in this hadith that nobody has gained such a virtues like Ali alayhi salam, in which he would guide people towards the right path, and he would repel and protect people from going astray. But if you follow Ali alayhi salam, not follow others, you know, Ajib, I'm very surprised that an individual narrates such hadith and then he would not choose Ali to be his own and first Khalifa. Of course, let me just mention something important, that number one, they would basically consider the sanad for themselves when they narrate Fadail Ali alayhi salam. They try to weaken the hadith which praises Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. I even saw some of them today in this era and age, they try to make the hadith of Ghadir weak as well, to this extent, to play with the sanad. They have the game of sanad, playing with the sanad. When it comes to praising Aisha or Uthman or others, there's no issue with the sanad. Even if the narrator is just one ahad, just one person narrating, the sanad is correct, the hadith is sahih, you can't argue about it. But when it comes to Ali alayhi salam and Hassan and Hussein, no. There's scrutiny on every individual in the chain of the narrations and the narrators. So they play this game, sadly, when it comes to Ahlul Bayt, but not their followers, not their leaders, unfortunately. The second hadith, again from the same book, الرياض النظرة في المناقب العشرة by الطبري, محبين الطبري, he states, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله النظر إلى وجه علي عبادة. To look at the face of Ali is ibadah, is worship. A great hadith, a great meaning, that to look at the face of Ali alayhi salam is like you are worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, because Ali is the means towards Allah, as I mentioned before. وَابْتَغُوا إِلَيْهِ الْوَسِيلَةِ. The Quran states clearly that to be able to worship Allah Azza wa Jal, you have to come through a means towards Allah Azza wa Jal. One of the means is the Quran, one of the means is the Kaaba. You kiss the Kaaba, you touch the Kaaba. You ask Allah Azza wa Jal for the sanctity of the Kaaba, to give your hajat, to cure your ills and so forth. So Ahl Bayt are the top in terms of the wasila. So therefore, the ahadith are there, but sadly they either try to play the game of the sanad, which is weak, or على كل حال, and somehow they try to avoid following these ahadith, and they would prefer their own hadith, in which we don't accept it, because alhamdulillah we all agreed upon these hadith, the Sunni and the Shia, that these hadith are correct and sahih, and we both narrate them. But when it comes for them praising their leaders and khulafa, so-called khulafa, we don't agree with them, because we don't accept their own hadith which praises the enemies of Ali alayhi salam, like Muawiyah. We can't accept it, because it's only one-sided. Yes. But with regards to Ahlul Bayt, it's two-sided. Both sides agree on the fadail of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. But we don't agree with them with the fadail of some of the Sahaba who went against Ali alayhi salam and Ahlul Bayt. Salamun alayhi. We'll continue inshallah the rest.
Inshallah. A quick message to the viewers that this is a live show. We're taking your questions. If you have any questions, please send them in via the WhatsApp, the email address. If you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Facebook Live, send in all your questions in the comment section, inshallah. The technical team will forward me some questions, and I have a lot of questions there, Sheikhna. Inshallah, we can get through some of them very, very quickly. From one of our viewers, Sheikhna, can I close my eyes during sujood?
Yes, the one can close, of course, ala kulli hal. It's not haram to keep it closed or open, but...
Can I do wudu in the shower? That's from WhatsApp. Sheikhna, according to His Eminence Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi, Hafadullah, I do believe if you come out of the shower and your hair is dry, but your face is wet, your arms are wet and so forth, you can actually do the wudu on the wet skin, yes, no?
Exactly, you can do this wudu, but you have to make sure that you have a new wudu for your left side arm. You have a new water for the left side.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, from YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. Can you change your niyyah during wajib prayer at any time? For example, from wajib to qada wajib or vice versa.
We have an issue that you cannot switch from the wajib to mustahab.
Okay.
But wajib to, for example, wajib, is it permissible? Such as, for example, you are in the jama'ah and you want to switch to furada. So you can switch and leave the jama'ah and pray furada. So wajib to wajib, according to some rulings, you can actually switch.
No worries. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the punishment? This is from YouTube. What is the punishment for someone who physically hurt someone really hard? I'm not sure if it's to do with or physically hurt. Okay, so if you punch someone really, really hard.
We have some kind of diya to be paid. If somebody causes redness or bruise, for example, or if it's black, or I think we mentioned this some time ago, and we brought the exact amount of the penalty should be paid, the amount. So it depends really on how severe it was.
So depending on how severe damage is, there's a different penalty to pay.
There's penalty, of course.
Each time. Wow. From WhatsApp, is it permissible to use in our foods oil derived from fish that are forbidden to us? What about using such oils for other matters? So let's say, the famous one is cod liver oil, which is obviously halal, but let's say if there's oil coming from, I don't know, crab or lobster or a fish that has no scales, what can we use that oil?
To consume, no, you can't use it. But other purposes you can, let's say to wipe, to rub it on the skin, for example, for treatments.
Well, more and more questions are coming in, Sheikhna. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. What do we call someone who doesn't recognize their imam or group called Kharajites? Can you still be Muslim without knowing your imam or accepting the imam? What about fighting?
If they establish enmity and hatred towards the Imam alayhi salam, of course they are not Muslims out of Islam, like the Nasibis. So it depends really. If they show hatred, then out of Islam.
Nice easy one, Sheikhna. What are the conditions for slaughtering of an animal? First one to be, well, obviously the animal has to be a halal animal which you can consume. Has to be purchased with halal money. It can't be stolen animal or usurped animal. A Muslim has to be the one to slaughter the animal. Has to be fed. Make sure water has been given. Facing Qibla.
Yes.
Sharp knife, sharp blade. And saying the word Bismillah. You can't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, that makes it haram. You just have to say Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, I think.
Bismillah, well, I mean, that's the main one, but to make it haram, this is an issue, needs to be looked into.
Inshallah. There's more questions coming in. They're not even stopping. Wow, mashallah. I did not know that Tawaf al-Nisa was obligatory for every individual who performs Umrah or Hajj Tamattu. I have not performed it. What should I do now, given that I have left Mecca for my country?
I mean, if you have somebody to go and do on behalf, exact niyabah, to do the act over there, if he can't go back anyhow.
This is a really serious matter because technically his wife is haram on him.
Yes, so he needs basically to fulfill this in somehow.
That's, yeah, actually needs to get done. Sheikh, can I look at a girl who I intend to marry in the future? I mean, can I look at her body in order to see if she's suitable for me or not? There is a probability that if I like her, I might marry her.
With the intention of marriage, real intention, genuine intention, and without lust, they can do so, yes.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. What is the minimum limit of the difficulty, al-haraj, that lifts the prohibition? Is exorbitant price for halal item that could still be bought with financial strain, or by getting a loan, a valid example that would make a haram but cheap alternative item permissibly religiously?
I'm not sure about the question. It's too
I
long.
don't understand the question.
I need
either.
to revise the question more.
Yeah,
maybe.
so if you could send that question in, maybe make it a bit more clear exactly what you're trying to say, because it's quite vague at the moment. Is it permissible for a Muslim man to go to mixed swimming pools with the knowledge that the women there wear swimming suits and would not listen to any admonishing?
Ayatollah Sistani mentions that it is not permissible, absolutely.
Okay.
In such gatherings, yeah.
Nice. Assalamu alaikum. I'm a convert to Islam and I have difficult situation with my parents which have driven a rift between us for some time. They wish to be cremated and I am unable to persuade them to not to be. I am the oldest child and if they were both to pass away, I would like to bury them. This would, however, ruin my relationship with my siblings and I do not want to do that.
I mean, best thing is to ask for the ijazah from the marja or his rep, to contact your marja to see if they allow you to do either of them. I mean, in terms of, because they were not Muslims when they died, basically.
Yes.
So best thing to ask the marja for the permission to either this type of burial or the other type.
Sheikh, we've got more and more questions coming from WhatsApp. What is Tay al-Ard? Tay al-Ard, and who was it?
Tay al-Ard is a power given to a believing individual who has reached the level of iman and taqwa and piety, where they can travel distances without using any materialistic tools like aeroplanes or let's say car.
So they walk a couple of steps and they're at the
exactly, they can easily. Taymins is to basically shorten the distance from point A to B. So from, let's say, from London to Baghdad, they can walk steps and reach that area within a few seconds, if not minutes, less or more. So it's some kind of power given to this individual due to his taqwa, to his wara', to his closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal, in which he would or she would travel without any means. Let's say mentioning Ismullah al-A'zam, for example.
Yes.
And the Holy Prophet ﷺ, in his Isra, he traveled very fast from Mecca to Bayt al-Maqdis and then towards the heavens, in a very short timing, in one night or quarter of the night or part of the night. So it's a huge amount of distance he was traveling, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but in a very small amount of time.
Fair. Sheikh, another question here. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
If a najis non-Ahlul Kitab person touches us with wet hands, do we just wash that area or do we have to redo our wudu after if we have wudu prior to them touching? Thanks.
Any najis touching, you need to just wash it.
Okay.
It's not part of the wudu invalidators and mubtalat al-wudu. So yes, just wash and that's it.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna, from
Assalam.
WhatsApp. What is the ruling on marijuana, cannabis?
If it's drugs, then it's haram to
Hashish.
consume.
Okay.
To deal with, to consume, buy and sell, should avoid it.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Is a
Assalam.
marriage null or nullified when the bride is pregnant at the time of nikah?
I mean, the thing is, in the time of nikah, while she is pregnant, and look, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah, we'll get back to that one. Is abortion always haram? I think it
There
is
are
unless to save the life
exactly
of the mother.
of the mother. Exceptions applied, yes.
Are you still Muslim if you fight your Imam? That's a really good question.
If you mean by Imam al-Ma'soom alayhi salam, indeed the one would even come out of Islam. Those who fought Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam on the day of Ashura, they are no longer Muslims. They are now disbelieving in Islam and Allah's deen. And they came and they said that we fight you بغضاً لأبيك أبي تراب. That we fight you, that we have hatred towards your father Ali alayhi salam. They are no longer Muslims. Those who came to fight Ali alayhi salam in Siffin, in Nahrawan. You can't call them Muslims anymore when they come to fight Ali with this sword.
Speaking of fighting Imam Ali and also about Abdullah al-Hussein with the sword, Assalamu alaikum Shaykhna.
As-salam.
Imam Ali alayhi salam said, "Verily I am successful," when he was struck on the head in Kufa. Why did he say that?
Because the Imam alayhi salam has implemented all the rulings of Allah Azza wa Jal as much as he could. He sacrificed himself for the Islam from his childhood till his adulthood. He gave everything towards Islam. He sacrificed his own wife, Fatima alayhi salam, for the cause of Islam. He could fought those who attacked his door, but he kept patience just to keep the Islam pace going on without causing any kind of war within the internal war with the Ashar, with the tribes, in which bloodshed would be of course spread. So the Imam alayhi salam was patient, but of course when he had a good amount of followers and Ansar, of course he went to fight ناكثين قاسطين مارقين in Jamal, Siffin, Nahrawan, in which he was of course in that state compelled to defend Islam and defend the Muslimin. So yes, the Imam alayhi salam, he won, faza, as we say in the ziyarah, فوزا عظيما, that you won a great winning for Ashab al-Hussein salam Allah alayhim and Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam.
Shaykhna, is it haram to have a pet pig?
You see, it's a najis. You cannot have a najis item bought or sold as a pet, unless there's some kind of exception for usage and so
What if it
forth.
was a
Otherwise,
gift? What if someone gave it to you for free? So you haven't purchased it, but you've got a pig.
you're keeping a
look
najis
after.
item at home. That's the problem.
Okay. What about cats and dogs? Dogs, okay, they're najis. You can't, breed and buy and sell those. Breed them for selling purposes. What about cats? Are cats okay?
Cats are fine, yes.
Okay, so you can breed cats and sell them, but not dogs or pigs. Shaykhna, where do our souls go when we sleep?
على كل حال, there's a alam of dreams in which, as we know, that our souls go to that alam in which we saw dreams. But it's some kind of a pre-death stage. It's not actually death, because if it's death, then our arwah and souls would go to alam al-akhirah. But this is some kind in the middle somewhere, على كل حال, in which we can see dreams. We can see our grandfathers who have passed away, for example, and so forth.
Shaykhna, many people, they don't know the rulings of Tahara, and nor are they going to try and make an effort to learn and apply them. So we as Muslims, how do we deal with when they are presenting us with food, or when they touch us with wet hands, when they give us stuff? Can we assume that it's tahir, or do we assume that it is najis?
No, of course we consider their food and belongings all tahir, because كل شيء لك طاهر, everything is pure unless you are certain that it's najis. Unless you see the najasa or you've been told it's najis, of course you have to avoid it. But if it's a Muslim, he's offering you food, so halal and tahir as well, both. And whatever he provides is tahir, and there's no issue with it. Just to continue with the hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the books of Ahlul Sunnah, as we celebrate Imam's birthday, salamullah alayhi, tonight, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله in Kitab Kunuz al-Haqa'iq al-Manawi. Manawi is another important Sunni alim. He mentions in his book Kunuz al-Haqa'iq that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ana wa Ali, me and Ali, Hujjatullah ala ibadah. We are the proof of Allah on the people. So if Ali and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi are the true proofs of Allah on people, why do you neglect and leave and abandon Ali alayhi salam, who was the hujjah in your books, over the people, and go and choose somebody else? But again, as I've said, they might play the game of the weak narration, or the chain of narrators, sanad and so forth. But hundreds of hadiths like this mentioned and narrated in their books. How can you reject these hadith by playing with the sanad and so forth? It's impossible.
I see. Excellent. Sheikh, more questions coming in from the WhatsApp. Why and how did he born in Kaaba? Okay, why and how Imam Ali was born in the Kaaba?
Just briefly, that when his mother, Salamullah alayha, Fatima bint Asad, she starts, for delivery, she went towards the Kaaba and asked Allah Azza wa Jal with the greatness of the one who is in her womb, because she knew the greatness of the one who she's carrying. So eventually the wall of the Kaaba cracked, and she went inside the Kaaba, and she remained for 3 days there. The pagans, the mushrikeen, couldn't enter the Kaaba, they couldn't open the door. But after 3 days, the Imam, along with his mother, they came out. She is carrying the Imam alayhi salam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa was the first one to receive Ali alayhi salam and to embrace Ali alayhi salam as a newborn child in the lap of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa.
Sheikh, I heard someone say abortion up to 100 days is not haram because the soul enters the fetus at the 100th day. Is this true?
Even if it's 1 day, you cannot abort at all. It's forbidden. It's forbidden.
Strictly forbidden. Mabruk Sheikh on this joyful day. And the question is, it keeps going up because more and more questions are coming from. In some Muslim countries, the corpse is placed in a coffin and then buried in the grave. What is our duty in such a situation?
Yes, some ulama would say that it is permissible to bury the dead inside the janazah, with the janazah, as we have today in UK. They would do it as well. They would bury some of the dead with the janazah, with the coffin.
I see.
It is permissible. Yeah.
Sheikh, is reciting the adhan and iqamah for daily prayers and other prayers compulsory?
No, it's mustahab. Both.
Okay, ahsant. But if you read the adhan, you have to read the iqamah, or it's okay, you can skip the iqamah and just read the adhan and go straight into salah?
In overall, they're both mustahab, but iqamah is more encouraged with this regard.
I see. Yeah. Fair enough. Is looking at one's mother's face ibadah, a kind of worship? I've heard looking at one's father's face is type of ibadah. As you said,
I've read that another ila wajh al-walidain ibadah. There is something mentioned, yes, to look at the parents' faces ibadah.
More questions are coming. MashaAllah, Sheikh, you're very popular today. Does cat hair make one's clothes impure? If so, how many hairs is required to make the clothes impure? I don't think cat hair makes your clothes impure at all. And if you're praying salah, even when you see cat hair, you just remove it and you continue your salah.
It's to do with the salah issue, yeah. The salah will be batil if you pray with it, so you have to remove it prior to the salah.
Okay. Salam Sheikh, I have one question for you. Who is your inspiration, and have you come across any miracles to share with us, please? Thank you.
Inshallah, another time, inshallah. At least a bit of time, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What is the meaning of the expression used by the jurist that there is no waiting period, iddah, for the adulterous woman because of her adultery?
Yes, it's been discussed that la iddat ala zaniya, because the zaniya or the adulteress, she has no iddah because of her acts, indecent acts, in which there's no iddah with this regard. But anyhow, marrying her, as I've said before, that Ayat al-Sistan says she must repent first before one gets married to her. Otherwise, he can't. So there are conditions with this regard for marrying from the one who is adulterer.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Are we allowed to go to Karbala Najaf in Ramadan for less than 10 days in each place, and do we then have to miss fasts?
Yes, that's fine. The one can do so, but it is better not to go to travel and stay and fast. And then after, I think 24th, 25th of Ramadan, the one can actually travel. So that kind of karaha or discouragement would be lifted. But of course, if one has something to do, let's say he's got something to do in that place, treatment and other issues, trade, something important that he needs to be there, of course, then one can do so and go. But try to stay and fast, that is recommended.
Sheikh, if a Hindu friend invited me for dinner, how can I refuse without offending them? Tell them you got COVID, that would help. But Sheikh, refusing...
He can't tell lie. So basically, the one can say, I'm sorry, I can't attend.
Okay.
Your dinner.
Sheikh, if someone dies from a beheading, would both the head and the body be washed for ghusl mayyit?
That's a good question. In overall, one should basically do the ghusl for the whole body.
Yes.
It must be all done, ala kulli hal. The ghusl must be done for the whole body in overall.
Yes. Sheikh Nadama, we talked about Tay al-Ard. How does one achieve Tay al-Ard?
With lots of purifying oneself. It's a very difficult journey, to be honest, to reach that level. Many try to meet Imam Zaman Ajjallah Farajuh Sharif, but it's not that easy, basically. But one should basically, as the Imam Ali said, أعينني بورع واجتهاد. Have God-fearing and struggleness. Try to do your duties or your wajib. Don't worry about reaching that stage. At least do the wajib and refrain from the haram. That Allah wants. Ittaqullah, ittaqullah. Many times mentioned in the Holy Quran. Taqwa. Important. Have taqwa, and inshallah things will come eventually.
Inshallah. Sheikh, remember we were talking about those who fight the Imam of their time or the Imam, they're not Muslim anymore, and you mentioned that no, they're not. Are the group of people who fought against Imam Ali in the Battle of Jamal not Muslim anymore?
The riwayah says qasitin, mariqin, the ones who fought the Imam Ali, they have, mariqin, like the Khawarij, they have maraqa, means they have came out of belief, no longer believers. Of course, the one who raises the sword against Ali alayhi salam, how could you call him a Muslim? Unless you call the Muslim in general that he يتشهد الشهادتين only, for example. But if they raise the sword against the Imam of their time, the Ma'soom time, no longer Muslim.
I see.
That's the problem. But the Imam was in a situation that he needed, ala kulli hal, to continue the establishment of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam message, to continue that message. He had to deal with such people, individuals. It was very, very difficult for the Imam alayhi salam to stand in front of those who were one day in his own army, like the Khawarij. Very difficult. And they were Qur'an al-Quran. They were Qur'an al-Quran, Quran reciters, memorizing Quran, praying day and night. But what's the point? Ibadah without knowledge, without ma'rifah, has no value.
Ahsant. Sheikh, if transferring a deceased Muslim to Muslim countries entails great difficulty, is it permissible to bury the body in the cemeteries of non-Muslims from among the followers of the revealed religions, that is the Ahlul Kitab? So a Christian cemetery or a Jewish cemetery, if I cannot take a Muslim body to a Muslim country and bury them there?
They have to ask the permission from the Marja' Ahkam SOS to see what are the conditions.
But there's a lot of Muslim cemeteries here in the UK.
Exactly.
But
let's say other parts of the world, Alaska for example.
Okay.
Somewhere there's no Muslims community there.
Inshallah. Sheikh, obviously it is obligatory for an individual to cover one's private parts from everyone who is adolescent and mukallif. However, is it obligatory to cover from the insane and child as well?
Well, it becomes wajib and obligatory to cover the parts from the insane and the child who are in the discerning level or stage. In other words, they understand what is good, what is bad. They understand. Then of course they have to cover.
I see.
And of course if one can cover at all times, that would be better, even for a small child. It's just better because the children can record and recall everything. Although they don't feel it, they don't have that discerning stage or position, but still it's better to cover. Let me just mention another hadith about Imam Ali alayhi salam from the books of Ahlul Sunnah. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله in Sahih al-Tirmidhi, he states إن الله أمرني بسد الأبواب إلا باب علي. Allah has instructed me, ordered me to close all the doors which are towards the masjid of An-Nabi in Medina صلى الله عليه وآله, except the door of Ali alayhi salam. And that means that Ali is infallible, معصوم, طاهر, مطهر. He doesn't need to avoid the masjid because he's in a specific or a special situation. But all the doors were closed except the door of Ali. And that is in Sahih al-Tirmidhi.
Oh, mashallah. Sheikh, now let's go to our Shia Plus video, inshallah, and see how we can help our Shabab this week.
It's a good idea. Yeah, I think we can go forward. Can I quickly get your phone number? Yeah, second, let me go grab a pen and paper. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, you were saying 07. Wait, give me a second. Am I allowed to use someone else's pen without permission?
Young Amiras are there in a bit of a hurry. Picked up the closest writing utensil, which was a pen, and someone else. There's not his belonging. It doesn't belong to him. He's picked up someone's pen. Is he allowed to use that pen?
You see, whatever we have that belongs to us, if somebody wants to use it, of course we have to give permission. That pen or pencil is mine. If you want to use it, you have to ask for permission, basically. So sometimes there is a mutual agreement given between the two parties that you can use, I can use yours, you can use mine, and so forth. So it depends really. If they are friends, for example, they can share their stuff. They've agreed before. But in overall, these are all privately owned and needs permission if you want to use it.
Sheikh, more questions coming in from our viewers. I believe this is from YouTube. Do we call our Sunni brothers brothers in faith or brothers in humanity?
In overall, many would call them as brothers. يعني إخوة إخوتنا على كل حال. Because they do the shahadatain, يتشهد الشهادتين.
So they
as a
Muslim,
as part of the Muslim community.
So
but we have, of course, but we have what is known as the Iman, Mu'min. Mu'min is the one who believes in the Wilayat Ali and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. The Iman is more basically valuable than the Islam, being Muslim. Being Muslim is fine, which is good, the Shahadatain. But you have to submit to the Shahada Thalitha to win and gain paradise. Without the Shahada Thalitha, your Islam is what? Incomplete. That's the problem. But in dunya, of course, you're a Muslim. Part of the Muslim Ummah, we can marry them, we can eat their slaughter meat and chicken. Most of our, I think, poultry and meat and chicken from Ahlul Sunnah, from Birmingham, a slaughterhouse. We live with them peacefully, alhamdulillah. But they have to basically look into these issues more, because there's a day of judgment in which Allah Azza wa Jalla would question them about Walayat Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And Allah is really would be firm and strong with this regard.
Sheikh, I'm going to go to a short break. Inshallah, join us after the break as we continue answering your questions here on Ahkam SOS.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or over
Islam
the
establish
graves?
based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, call in on +44 2035 150199 or WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155. Alternatively, you can also email us on ahkamsos@imamhussain.tv.
Yes, please send us your questions via the WhatsApp, the email address. Give us a call live in the studio, 0203 515 0199. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section and inshallah the technical team will send them to me and we'll be able to discuss and answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Sheikhna, more and more questions coming in. From YouTube, is lab-grown meat halal?
It seems to be there's a problem with this meat because it has to be slaughtered according to the Sharia. So there's an issue and problematic with regards to this type of meat.
Yes, because it's not actually an animal that's made in the lab and then slaughtered. Is it makruh to have pets such as fish in a tank? That's
No,
from YouTube.
I haven't
so.
heard such a thing. No.
Apparently it's mustahab, no? To have fish? Or to have
To
pets
have a
in
living
general?
individual, I mean, living
Birds
animals.
is the one that's recommended.
Birds,
most,
yeah, pigeons are recommended, yes.
I see, I see.
Chickens and so forth.
From YouTube, can I ask if mutta is allowed and can it easily be misused too?
Yes, it is allowed, and yes, it is being misused, of course.
Another one from YouTube, is camel urine najis?
You see the urine or the feces of the animals which are halal to consume, they're all tahir.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, such as from
so
the
cow, lamb,
cows,
chicken.
exactly. Yeah, so
Okay,
tahir.
fair enough. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can one marry a woman who committed zina while she was married after her divorce? That's not clear enough. Brother or sister who's put that in, please rephrase your question, inshallah, because it's not clear whether she was married, then divorced, and then when the zina was committed and so forth. So we won't be able to answer that for you. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can someone take wudu when naked in his bathroom?
You can. I mean, there's no issue with it. Part of the wudu invalidators is not to be naked. Salah, yes. For salah, you have to be covered, at least the private part. But when it comes to wudu, it's not part of the wudu invalidators that you can't be naked for the wudu. And that's why we have ghusl janaba, which replaces the wudu. So the one is naked doing the ghusl, and then he goes towards the sajjada to pray afterwards.
Sheikhna, what is shaykhism or shaykhism, and is it kufr? Shaykhism, is it kufr?
Shaykhiyya or other means, we have two main schools in the Shia, the Shaykhiyya and the Usuliyya, in which we, that's the question is about.
The word is, we should know this.
In which they won't accept the way of the Usuli that works in Hawza today. They won't accept
Akhbari we used to call it.
Akhbari and Akhbari, Shaykhi,
popularly
exactly,
known
and
as
you have the Usuli.
Akhbaris, and then you have the Usulis, which will utilize more of Aql and Ijma compared to the Akhbaris. From YouTube, Sheikhna, there is a sister I know that suffers from homosexual desires, and no matter she cannot see herself being in a relationship with a man. Can she be celibate? Can she stay away from marriage?
It's against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he said, al-nikahu sunnati. So she must first treat herself by seeing a psychiatric, for example.
Yes.
And then ask Allah Azza wa Jalla with the dua, with the tawassul of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, to be able to go back to her normality, and inshallah may be proposed to someone for marriage, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to be party to temporary marriage with a woman who is known for adultery if no other woman is available and the person is desperate need of marriage?
You see, in overall, having such relationship is absolutely or severely discouraged by the ulama. And as I've mentioned, that Allah says she must repent first, and then you can get married to her. So the one should stay away from these individuals because they have diseases, they have issues. One should, bad reputation. You must avoid these individuals, and Allah would open, inshallah, the halal and the pure and the tahir woman, inshallah, for you, be it short or long term, inshallah.
Inshallah. Sheikhna, what is the Islamic ruling about someone who does not fast intentionally or breaks his fast deliberately? Now, let's just say this is to do with Ramadan. One who has the niyyah of breaking the fast but doesn't do it, his fast is broken, automatically void.
Yes.
And one who doesn't fast during the holy month of Ramadan deliberately has a kafara to pay as well. So what is the Islamic ruling for someone who does not intentionally fast or breaks his fast deliberately?
In overall, if somebody's fast was broken due to breaking his intention or by eating intentionally, of course, the qada must be done. You have to make it up later, afterwards, and do the qada basically. Now the kafara, this comes inshallah later on in the month of Ramadan, inshallah.
Sheikh, is revealing oneself prohibited in places that are dedicated to a particular group of people, such as some of the religious schools?
Yes, it is, because these are either endowment waqf for only the students of that seminary or school. In other words, the passerbys cannot use that the bathroom of the facilities of that school, for example.
I see.
Then you have to respect and not use them unless with their permission.
Another one here. Can one purify the urine outlet with other than water?
The only way you can purify is with water, and either to be with core water or running water, tap water, or if it's with little water, let's say jug water or even a cup, then you have to pour at least twice, and preferable is to do it 3 times.
Okay. Sheikh, we've only got a couple of minutes left, and we've got a lot of questions from our viewers. Let's try and get through them quickly. What is the aura of Amma?
I don't know about this.
Okay.
It's not clear really. Yeah.
We'll go through that next week, inshallah. Can you tell something to recite to overcome magic, evil eyes, and spirits? Sheikhna, a lot of people discuss black magic and ayn and stuff like that. And I don't know if they even consider there's like a jinn possessing them or in their facility and so forth. We as Shia, like, how much emphasis do we give on this? As in, 9 times out of when someone gives a story that they believe someone's done black magic on them, or they believe that there's a jinn in their house or something along those lines, how authentic do you think it is to actually being black magic or something and not something else?
I mean, basically they have to go back to see the experts, initially medical experts to examine them, and secondly spiritual experts.
Yes.
There are people who can actually offer them dua, some kind of ad'iyah, Quranic verses, so they have to see experts with this regard.
I see. But is there anything, I think Surah Nas is the best one to recite if you feel.
But if they're in a severe condition, they have to do more, basically.
Oh, okay.
So you need to do more. But that's part of it, of course. The surah of Quran and the small surah.
Sheikhna, what is the hukum behind hukum on praying behind the Sunni?
The salah is batil. You have to pray behind somebody who is adil. Even if it's Shia, he must be adil, just. You can't pray behind any Shia that you see. You must make sure that they are just, adil, so you can pray behind them.
Okay, the question on zina and divorce and so forth. Sorry, I mean, can a man marry a woman whom he committed zina with during her marriage to another man after her divorce? So there was a lady, she committed zina with a lady's married to Mr. A, but she committed zina with Mr. B. She's divorced Mr. A, now she wants to marry Mr. B. Can Mr. B marry this lady?
There is basically a ruling regarding to somebody who is doing zina in this condition that it would be haram on him permanently. I'm not sure if this is the condition.
Well.
There is something mentioned, but I'm not sure if it's exactly on this hukum. In her iddah or something, that you cannot marry her forever, basically.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is Maryam alayhi salam a prophetess?
She was a great woman. She was one of the من الله اصطفاك وطهرك واصطفاك على نساء. She was chosen and purified and selected from all the women in her time, one of the best women in her time, but not as a prophet.
I see. Do we have any female prophets? I've never heard of. Not at all.
No.
Fair enough. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Fish with scales can be eaten, however, not shellfish, i.e., crabs, lobster. However, what is the ruling on prawns and shrimp? Thank you.
As mentioned before, the prawns are halal and allowed to
I think there's a
consume.
Specific hadith that mentions prawns and
exactly.
shrimp and so forth. To say
From
that you
Ahlul
can
Bayt
eat these.
Yes, they give this exception. Let me just mention a hadith with regard to Imam Ali alayhi salam as we celebrate tonight his blessed birthday. Again, in the book of Usdul Ghabah Ibn al-Athir, also important book by the Ahlul Sunnah, that قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه عاد الله من عاد عليا. May Allah be the enemy of the one who considers Ali as his enemy. So Muawiyah was what? Caused enmity to Muhammad alayhi salam, so Allah would be against Muawiyah. And that's in the kitab of Usd al-Ghaba by Ibn al-Athir.
Ahsan. Thank you very much, Sheikh. Now, thank you to all of you for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. If we didn't answer your question, we do apologize. We were absolutely bombarded today with so many questions from our viewers. But if you have a question you'd like to send in, please send it in via the WhatsApp, the email address. You can send it via Facebook in the comment section or YouTube in the comment section. If you have TikTok, you can follow us on at Ahkam SOS on TikTok. We have separate material that we use for TikTok. We also interact with our viewers and our followers on TikTok. So add us there, and inshallah you can ask your questions there, and we will inshallah reply to all of your questions. Inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be back on Wednesday for another episode of Ahkam SOS, 6:30 here on Imam Hussain TV3. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Get the queries off your chest with Ahkam SOS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In a way, each and every one of us is a Shia voice. But imagine being known as the Shia voice. I've traveled across the world, but especially in the UK, I've seen some wonderful talent. Whether it's in the north of England or in the south, in the east or the west, I've come across some of the best Quran reciters, some young and some a bit older. I've come across some of the best Noha, Qasida, Nasheed, Latmiya reciters. Once again, some maybe at the age of 7, others maybe in their 50s. I've come across certain people in our communities, young and old, who have given talks 5-10 minutes long. They have the talent to be an orator one day, a dhakir, or even someone who's known as a khatib of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam. The aim of this competition by Imam Hussain TV, known as the Shia Voice, is to actually look for the talent in our community. Scout it in a way, give it an opportunity, give it a chance. Come on the big stage in front of judges who may already be established as Shia voices. It is an honor for us to be known as a Shia voice because it means that we have a chance to be remembered alongside the great Shia voices of the past, such as Salman and Abu Dhar and Miqdad, or the voices of the orators and those who gave sermons and recited supplication and prayers on the 10th of Muharram alongside Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And there's an incentive. The incentive is that you'll be remembered alongside the greatest voices in the past. The smaller incentive is that we're looking to give a gift of £10,000 to help kickstart this person's career. And so this particular gift is to help. The incentive ultimately is to be remembered as being amongst the voices of those who sought to protect the path and the teachings of the Prophet and the Holy Household. Come to the auditions and be remembered as a Shia voice.
Imam Hussain Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahl al-Bayt's peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussain TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy, and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussain Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms, and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production that requires time and capital. The producer must analyze the costs of the venue hire, equipment, transport, feature fees, set design, staff support, and further additional costs. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, narrated, "The best of people is he from whom people benefit." It is up to you to help the Muslim Ummah come together and help guide the youth in remaining on the correct path of Islam. To take part in this global conquest and to spread the message of Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him, please visit www.imamhussain3.tv or give us a call on +44 0203 515 0199. You can also contact us via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, or even email us on donate@imamhussain.tv. Let's work together hand in hand to elevate the faith of our Shia youth today.
IHDRF is proud to announce the launch of its app, Sadaqah. Sadaqah is a modern, easy, and interactive way for you to pay your charity. Your Sadaqah can be transferred instantly and directly start helping orphans. Furthermore, you can donate to different projects such as clothing orphans, supplying clean water, heating fuel for the winter, and feeding the hungry. When you pay your Sadaqah, it will be used to feed, clothe, and school orphans. Our app is accessible via the App Store and Google Play Store. Download today and pay your Sadaqah.
Have a duty towards the preservation and the propagation of the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Indeed, one of the best ways to work towards the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajul sharif is through promoting the values of Karbala. Imam Hussein Media Group is the only Shia television network that broadcasts globally in 5 different languages: Arabic, Farsi, Turkish, Urdu, and English. We are appealing to the lovers of Imam Hussein alayhi salam worldwide to support the channel such that it may continue its global operations. Imam Hussein Media Group is seeking 1,000 partners to pledge to a £14 contribution per month. This will allow the channel to sustain its operating costs as we continue to spread the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in multiple languages across the globe. You be a part of this great legacy and donate today. You can pledge in 2 ways. www.imamhussain3.tv/donate will take you direct to our donation page where you can pledge monthly. Or you can call or WhatsApp us on 0044 793 9917 Imam Hussein TV, your gateway to Karbala.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In a way, each and every one of us is a Shia voice. But imagine being known as the Shia voice. I've traveled across the world, but especially in the UK, I've seen some wonderful talent. Whether it's in the north of England or in the south, in the east or the west, I've come across some of the best Quran reciters. some young and some a bit older. I've come across some of the best Noha, Qasida, Nasheed, Latmiya reciters. Once again, some maybe at the age of 7, others maybe in their 50s. I've come across certain people in our communities, young and old, who have given talks 5-10 minutes long. They have the talent to be an orator one day, a dhakir, or even someone who's known as a khatib of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. The aim of this competition by Imam Hussain TV, known as the Shia Voice, is to actually look for the talent in our community. Scout it in a way, give it an opportunity, give it a chance. Come on the big stage in front of judges who may already be established as Shia voices. It is an honor for us to be known as a Shia voice because it means that we have a chance to be remembered alongside the great Shia voices of the past such as Salman and Abu Dhar and Miqdad, or the voices of the orators and those who gave sermons and recited supplication and prayers on the 10th of Muharram alongside Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And there's an incentive. The incentive is that you'll be remembered alongside the greatest voices in the past. The smaller incentive is that we're looking to give a gift of £10,000 to help kickstart this person's career. And so this particular gift is to help. The incentive ultimately is to be remembered as being amongst the voices of those who sought to protect the path and the teachings of the Prophet and the Holy Household. Come to the auditions and be remembered as a Shia voice.
Imam Hussein Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt's peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussein TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy, and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussein Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms, and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production,